All right, Saints fans, before we get into today's news and rumors, I got a favor for you. I want to catch Matthew Peterson in the Browns report in subscribers. They're currently sitting at 24,614, and we are at 21,202. So let's reach that Rashid Shaheed number of 22,000 ASAP. But also, let's pass the Browns report in subs, because we all know the Saints fans way better than the Browns fans. Help me out and subscribe today. But I want to dive into this report from Field Yates about Frank Clark, because there's been some trade buzz, there's been some rumors, and quite honestly, it seems like the Broncos are going to be big-time sellers at the NFL trade deadline on Halloween, October 31st this year. So Yates saying that Frank Clark's days as a Bronco are coming to an end per sources, be it via a trade or release. The team will be moving on from Frank Clark soon. It's the second pass rusher Denver will have parted ways with in recent days, as a team traded for Randy Gregory less than a week ago. Clark agreed to a restructured deal yesterday, giving back $1.686 million in guaranteed salary. So I found that pretty interesting, because makes it a little bit easier to move on from Frank Clark for the Broncos, makes him a lot more tradable. So I could see the Saints being a potential destination for him. In terms of the production this year, it's only been 2 tackles. He hasn't been very active on that Broncos defense. But let's call it how it is. The Broncos suck. They are a really bad football team, and Sean Payton does not have that squad playing well whatsoever. So the fact that he's not performing well, I'm going to be honest, not much of a surprise. But there's been 4 destinations that have been listed and I've been kind of rumored and talked about, and it's these 4 teams as you see right here. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars, Baltimore Ravens, those scumbag Atlanta Falcons, and the New Orleans Saints. And I personally think that the Saints pass rush is good, but it could be a lot better. And if you ask me, when you look at the depth chart, you can see there's talent out there for sure. You got Cameron Jordan, you got Carl Granderson holding it down on the edges. Tano Passanio, he's a good rotational piece. Kyle Phillips, he's recently rejoined the active roster. And Isaiah Foskey, where has he been? We're going to talk about him in just a minute. But I do believe that Frank Clark would be a rotational guy if he was brought into New Orleans. He's not going to be somebody who replaces Cam Jordan. Just not going to happen. As long as Cam Jordan is playing football, he's not going to be replaced. Carl Granderson, on the other hand, has been playing out of his freaking mind. He has been stellar this season, leads the team in sacks with 3.5 this year. I want to see more pressure, and I want to see more sacks. And Isaiah Foskey, on the other hand, he's been a guy that I was pretty high on coming out of the draft process. I was really excited to see the Saints take the Notre Dame edge rusher, because he's fast, he plays physical, he plays his absolute heart out, but the stats have been lacking. He hasn't been very impactful. He's been doing some stuff on special teams. Only 8 tackles this season. 4 of those were solos. 4 of those combined tackles. So I just want to see this defensive line utilize all of their pass rushers. So I think that a trade for Frank Clark might actually make some sense for New Orleans, because, like I said a minute ago, the pass rush is there. They're bringing on pressures. They're getting quarterback hits, but they're just not finishing sacks. So the pressure's got to finish. You got to get home that much more often. You got to finish your pressure, and you have to finish your dinner, because otherwise that's what leads to the Baker Mayfield touchdown that we all want to forget about. That's what leads to other teams coming back in the fourth quarter, like the Green Bay Packers. So I think Frank Clark could make some sense, but I would personally rather sign him if the Broncos were to release him, because at the end of the day, why give up something if you don't have to? So sound out for me, Saints fans. Would you bring in Frank Clark? Whether it's a trade, whether it's a free agency move, just let me know with a simple yes or no in the comment section. I'm curious as to what you guys have to say, because I think this decision could actually be pretty split if you ask me. So let me know down in the comment section. So next, I want to talk about, should Trevor Penning be benched? There's been some stuff on social media. There's been some talk and some chatter on the X sphere, if you want to call it that, otherwise known as Twitter. But could you also maybe sign an offensive tackle to ease your mind? We're going to talk about all that and then some here just around the break. But before we get to that, I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. They are awesome. I've talked about them before, and I'll talk about them again because I absolutely love it. Prize Picks is the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. And it's the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. You see it at the bottom of your screen right there. And you can get a first deposit match up to $100. So look at my picks that I'm rolling with this week. Alvin Kamara, he's projected 68.5 rushing yards. I'm going to go with the more there. I think C.J. Stroud, he hasn't played against many great defenses. I think the Saints secondary absolutely dominates this game, so I'm taking less on Stroud's passing yards. And for Michael Thomas, I'm taking more at 55.5 receiving yards. I think that he has been utilized decently well. I think that the Saints can find a way to get him involved in the pass game against the Houston Texans. So those are the projections I'm rolling with. But once again, instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros or sharks, you can just select the 2 or more players, and it's just you against the numbers. So you get the quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types. That's what makes PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Daily fantasy sports made easy. All right, so now let's talk about benching Trevor Penning. My first take, my first reaction. Absolutely the frick not. Y'all know the joke. Absolutely the frick not. We're not doing that. No, I'm not even going to tease this idea. I think it's stupid. I think it's quite honestly one of the worst decisions that this coaching staff could make. I don't like James Hurst as an offensive lineman. I think he's bad. I think he's been an absolute liability. The argument, though, is that James Hurst is a lot better at run blocking than Trevor Penning, which is interesting because that was one of Penning's strengths coming into the NFL out of college. And quite honestly, James Hurst has been a massive liability. And I think that Trevor Penning has gotten better and better and better every single week. So let's look at the numbers side by side. Penning has a better overall grade. The pass blocking grade is better as well, but the run blocking grade favors James Hurst. And I just want to focus here on Hurst's pass blocking grade of a 38.3. That is absolutely atrocious. I cannot imagine why Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael would want to send out James Hurst over Trevor Penning, because I think benching Penning would be absolutely stupid. There is not a good decision being made if Trevor Penning does not start against the Houston Texans. He has gotten better every week, and that will stop. That progress, that confidence, that will all slow down, and that will all stop if he does not get real-time minutes. I mean, one of the biggest things about this is Trevor Penning, the pass blocking grade is so much better, and he has been better in pass blocking than James Hurst. I hate to say it, but the issues have been on the interior offensive line, and I've been saying that for days and weeks at this point. Trevor Penning has not been the issue. Week 1, absolutely, he was a problem. But here we are saying, talking about Trevor Penning, and I firmly believe he's been one of the better offensive pieces the past couple of weeks. I mean, call it how it is. I don't like James Hurst. I want Trevor Penning to start, and I think it would be stupid to risk a worse pass protection for better run protection. That being said, I can understand why they may want to do it, as the Texans have a bad run defense, especially on the outside. We talked about that in our preview, so if you missed that, it was yesterday's video. Check that out after you finish this one. But if you insist on a change, if you absolutely insist on sitting Trevor Penning, if you do not want to run with him out there, I guess you can go get La'el Collins. I mean, he's available in free agency. That being said, you better be quick because he's had visits with the Jets and the Giants already. And La'el Collins, it's kind of hard to imagine a player of his caliber being available right now, so that could be an immediate fix. And I'm not going to sit here and say he's an amazing left tackle. I'm not going to sit here and say he's the best one out there across the NFL, because that's just simply not true. But his production is better than Penning's. The pass blocking grade isn't great, but the run blocking grade is awesome. I think that if you really were concerned about the run blocking grade, why would you risk putting out James Hurst when you could go and get a guy like La'el Collins? And as for the injury news around him, there was an injury that he had. He hurt his ACL, MCL last December, and he recently was medically cleared after successful surgeries for both of those injuries. And he did post a workout video. I tweeted it out on my Twitter, so if you guys haven't checked that out, or on my X, I'm never going to get used to that. But if you guys want to see that, I posted it on my social media accounts. So point being, start Trevor Penning. Don't start James Hurst, but if you have to make a change, go get La'el Collins. That's just my thoughts on that. But I want to leave it up to you guys. The Who Dat Nation, whether you're sitting at home, whether you're sitting on the toilet, whether you're sitting on the couch, whether you're putting off doing work or schoolwork, just let me know. pick a left tackle. Just type their jersey number in the comment section. Number 70 for Penning, 74 for Hurst, or number 71 for La'el Collins. And as always, Saints fans, like I just said, if you want to interact with me, or if you need any other updates, news, rumors, anything like that around the New Orleans Saints between these videos, feel free to give me a follow on X at TraceGerard48. My Instagram is the same. The links are in the comment section in the description of this video. But you guys, y'all stay golden. See you next time.